Welcome back to the Polity. We're still reaching live from our Abuja studios. Like I said before the break, we've been joined now by the acting national youth leader for Labour Party, Prince Kennedy Aonutu. He speaks to me now about or ahead of the Labour Party's response for the March 18 elections, the governorship elections and state assembly elections that will be holding across the country in just about 2 days from now. Welcome and good afternoon.
Thank you, my dear brother.
All right, let's start with just some moments ago, you held a press briefing where we were present, and you spoke about protesting on March 18. And I think a lot of Nigerians had another type of protest in mind. Please let us elaborate on what you mean by protesting on election day.
Thank you so much, my good brother. You know, after the 25th February presidential election, there were a lot of agitations, many youth organizations. People were calling me that we should be on the street, get Nigeria shut down and all what have you. But you know, this is the old order. That is how it's been done. But the youth we have these days and our approach to leadership in Nigeria going forward is not going to be in that old order. What Nigerians did on 25th was actually to introduce the new order, which means participatory politics, participating in governance. And that was what exactly the youth did. And they came out and voted candidates of their choice. And of course, my candidate, you know. But beyond that, when the result was declared and there was some injustice in it, as we have alleged properly, and a lot of people wanted us to protest. And I said to myself, and we consulted, and there was no point protesting or going to the street, because if we had done that, the opposition may take advantage and destroy some of our evidences that we're going to be tendering in court. And we decided to tone down. Then I'm calling for Nigerian youth to now start the protest on 18th on the various polling units across Nigeria. What do I mean by that? That same voters card that they used on 25th that were denied, you know, sort of, I want them to use it and now prove to both INEC and Nigerians that they truly voted for Labour Party. By the time anywhere we see Labour Party on ballot paper, that is where the Nigerian youth will be voting on Saturday. Anywhere except Labour Party is not on ballot paper. That is the only thing that will stop Nigerian youth from voting in that particular area. But wherever, in any state in this country that Labour Party appears on ballot paper, Nigerian youth will make sure if it's waste, we'll waste our vote on it to prove that P2B actually won the election of 25th February 2023. So that was what we mean by protest. Let them go out there and show their anger of such unexpected declaration, such illegal declaration that was made by INEC. Let them go to the polling unit on Saturday and vote for our governorship candidates across the country. We have to capture Lagos, we have to capture Rivers, we have to capture Enugu, we have to capture Taraba, we have to capture Edo, we have to capture Benue, we have to capture Nasarawa, and all the south and southeast states, and the northern states, mostly where we have governorship candidate and House of Assembly candidate. We are taking over because this is a youth o'clock. It's youth time to deepen democracy and leadership in Nigeria.
What about people that say the candidates you are voting for are not youths?
The people that say...
You know, that when you say it's youth o'clock,
yes,
it means the youth is deciding.
Yes.
But the people they are choosing, they are not youths themselves.
And that was why the Nigerian youth supported P2B, because when you look at the prominent presidential candidate, P2B was the younger person among the prominent, more visible presidential candidates, you know, that was prepared to win an election. P2B was the youngest among them. His vice president was the youngest among them. And when you look at Labour Party candidates across the country, we have given our tickets to younger persons. For example, look at the Lagos State governor. It's in contention. They are saying he's just 40, that he can't do anything. But they forgot that we had a president in Nigeria at 29 who was 29 years old. And, you know, 40 years is the most productive year of every youth. From that 25 to 40, 45 is the peak of knowledge and intelligence. And these are people that we should introduce into leadership, not people that are already, you know, going down. You know, they are going. Their brain is already going down. Those are not the kind of people that we should be introducing into leadership in Nigeria. We should be introducing people that are at the peak of intelligence, from 25 to 45, 50. That is the point. You know, that is the point. That is where people are in their best productive years, both in agility and everything. You know, so that is what Labour Party have done. We've given our candidacy to mostly younger persons, you know, across board. You know, on average, I think we have high number of younger candidates.
All right. Speaking about you know, telling youths to go out and vote and so on, some persons would argue that it seems you are talking from both sides of your mouth. If you say that the election on February 25th did not, or was not evident, or did not come out with the results that it should have, you know, how can you now tell them to come out again? So others they have the opinion that if you must encourage people to come out, you also have to tell them that the results that they got from the previous one was valid. Otherwise, why should they come out again?
No, my brother,
because it's still the same.
I think you got it wrong here, because in Nigeria, even if there are results that were collected from areas where people didn't vote, in my state, Imo State, some results were collected in communities where INEC officials were never cited.
Won't this discourage voters?
No, but that is why I'm saying that youth, you know, some group of guys came around and they told me that youth are people with quick, you know, they just, if it's not happening now, they are off. You know, and I told him no, that if you are traveling to Lagos and you are just in Lokoja and the vehicle, even if it broke down, will it stop you from proceeding to Lagos? You are already determined that you are going to Lagos. So our determination, our focus is towards taking back Nigeria. Even if it takes us 10 years to achieve that, we must take back Nigeria from the hands of these men that have hijacked the system over the years. We must be able to tell ourselves the truth. That is because we've not been participating in politics. So many of them were breaking their voters card after that election. And I told them, no, we can't do this. Because Peter Obi just came and started this movement. We must have to consolidate. It won't be easy to destroy some of these structures of criminality that has been holding us down. It won't be very easy. So it's about consistency. So despite the illegality perpetuated by INEC last 2 weeks, we cannot, because of that, experience or ask people not to come out and vote. We must always tell them to come out. Let INEC continue to perpetuate whatever they have done, and the world will be watching us. The global community is watching. So, and it will get to a point where the system will begin to fail, where those structures that have been maligning the efforts of Nigerian youth will be destroyed. So, but if we, have you seen a match, a football match, where somebody is under 2 goals? You see the way they play. They know they're already losing, but they still work hard. They still change their pattern, and they still win the match, eventually 3-2. So Nigerian youths will eventually win the match. This match, we must reclaim our mandate, and that is why we are asking them not to give up, not to break their voters card. That is a proof of their citizenship. We still have to believe in the system. We still have to believe in INEC, despite their failures. We still have to believe. Believing in them can inspire them to now change and do better, especially with the coming elections. And to whom much is given, much is expected. They already know that Nigerians are against them. So if they do anything beyond what they've done, whatever that happens to them is in their hand. And
that's fair enough. It's good to hear your optimism and your readiness. So we'll take a look at some of the specific states. But before that, let's talk about what you've already, like you said, you mentioned consolidation. Let's talk about what the victories you've had at this moment and how you hope to protect them. I think about a day or two ago, we had a briefing from the Labour Party FCT chairman speaking about, you know, plans that are where, you know, the seats you've already gotten are under threat by some persons. How do you hope to consolidate on that, especially because when you take a look at Labour Party in 2019 and 2023, we have some drastic changes. I think the presidential candidate didn't get, if I'm not mistaken, it wasn't too much more than 5,000 votes. 4 years later, you're having over 6 million votes. You're having about 40 National Assembly candidates, and and there's still a lot of prospects for the governorship. So that being said, because of that quote-unquote newness, there is a belief that those who are versed in the game, in the House of Representatives, in the House of Senate, will have an edge and might, end up assimilating or even somehow, taking away some of these victories we've had. So how do you hope to protect it?
Well, thank you so much. Like you said, the fame that Labour Party is enjoying today is because of the infusion of especially the credibility of our presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, who has come into the party and
yeah, please go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, our presidential candidate, Peter Obi, who came into the picture, and Nigerian youth, we are yearning for change in the system, change in status quo, and Mr. Peter Obi represents that dream that we actually had in Nigeria, and he brought a lot of fame to Labour Party. Thank God thank our stars for being the driver, the vehicle that this project was kickstarted. But actually, it couldn't have been any other political party if not Labour Party, because Labour Party is the only party that represents the true meaning of social democracy. This is the only party that among all the political parties have human face in practice. This is the only political party that have a manifesto that deeply took time to explain the policies of government and governance that will deepen democracy and give dividends of democracy to the nation. And if you look at Labour Party, you see if you look at the Labour Party structure, you see the inclusiveness of the youth, you see the inclusiveness of the women, and you see the holistic approach with which our presidential candidate ran his campaign. So, having said that, we have enjoyed level of success today because we are playing credibility politics, and we came into 2023 with credibility politics, and we got to the people. We walked on the streets of the towns where we visited. We embraced them. You could see people be walking in the market, carrying people's baby. If you watch television, these are what other presidential candidates in other lands do. They interact with the people. They feel the vibes of the people. They go to the people, not to just come in an open field and speak, and people will clap, and they go and come back after 4 years to now speak to them again. No, we moved into the crowd. So we have won some seats in the parliament. We have won so many seats in the Senate and the House of Reps. And now, about consolidation and making sure that they remain. Immediately after they collected their certificate of return, we had a dinner with them where we went into some certain heart-to-heart discussions. And you know that the Electoral Act also have helped Nigeria democracy. That Electoral Act, which this INEC abused and they disregarded, is actually meant to strengthen democracy in Nigeria, because there is what we call internal party structure strengthening. And if you say, I've won an election under Labour Party, I will no longer be with Labour Party, you will leave your mandate and you walk away. We will now choose somebody that will also finish up the race for us, because people didn't vote those individuals. People voted Labour Party. And what people saw on the ballot paper are Labour Party, not an individual. So it was actually the party that people voted. And the Electoral Act have explained it, that if you want to jump party, prepare to leave that position for the party, because it's the party that gave you the platform that you emerged. So you can't deceive them. And that is what Nigerian politicians has been doing. And that was why I told people that after 2023, things have changed in Nigeria. It can no longer be business as usual. Of course, it has become business unusual. And that is why you see things happening in a different dimension. And most of them, that they openly declared their interest in building the party, even if for no other thing, but for the support that they have to give to His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi, being that it was the force and the wave with which he came into the game that made them win election. Many of them didn't spend as much as what people in these established political parties spent to have won an election. Many of them didn't even pay their nominations completely. And today, they are senators, they are House of Rep members. You see, that is the goodwill that the party enjoyed that poured off on them. So it will not be fair, even on those individuals, to now turn their back against the party. We have to build a democratic institutions in Nigeria. Institutions have not been functional. But if we have the ideology of the Labour Party embedded in them, which we are planning to have several retreats, policy sections, capacity building sessions with them, for them to understand actually, because most of them didn't even have not been up to 2 years, 3 years in the party. So most of them don't even know the real philosophy and the psychology, how the party works. So we are taking time to train them, educate them, let them get used to, get conversant with the manifesto of the party, because that is what will form what they will be debating on National Assembly. Because those policies we have in our manifesto, that is where they will be drawing their motions, their bills, because whatever bill they will present in National Assembly, whatever motion they present in National Assembly must be in line with social democratic principles which Labour Party represents. So we hope to continue from here and build a bigger political movement in Nigeria with Labour Party.
All right. I know the hope will be to grow, like you said.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, taking a look at the numbers for the National Assembly, when you combine the opposition, we had the Labour Party has seats, the PDP, SDP, NNPP, all these people have seats in the House. What's the plan of the Labour Party to,
In Senate?
Yes.
Not in the House. In Senate, in the House, we have we're still counting because there are inconclusive elections where we are expecting to win, hands down. So we are looking at having even up to 40 House of Reps members in the floor of the House. And we are also looking at having extra 2 senators joining us. So we still look up to, and there are so many other court cases. So some of our people will come in through the court because clearly they were robbed of their mandate. So clearly a lot of our people will still come into that Senate. So you can never conclude now, because most of them there that have collected certificate of return will be returned back to the constituencies, and the rightful owners will take over.
All right. But even at that, as it is, the opposition combined still have enough of a chunk that they can affect, very strongly how bills are passed or decisions are made. So I'm wondering, is there a level of collaboration we could be seeing? Because the issue now is what we've been seeing so far in this election cycle is that the opposition seems to be scattered. So the PDP says we are big enough to be opposition by ourselves. Labour Party says we are getting as big as you, we don't need you. The NLPP said they are all the same, so on and so forth. But it seems very clear that if all your numbers were to come together, you could have a very strong effect against the majority, which is the APC at the moment. Is that something that could possibly happen, or are you working in silos?
Well, I didn't win an election. I'm not a member of the 10th Assembly that will soon be constituted. But all I know is that this Assembly is going to be very, very interesting. Looking at the composition of the people that are making up that Assembly, like you said, the SDP is there. We have Labour Party, we have PDP, we have APC. But there is no political party that can do without the other in the House as it stands today. For example, APC cannot say they are majority in the House. They cannot push any policy all by themselves because of the numbers they have. Labour Party have to play what I call a strong opposition. They will have to present a strong, because they are negotiating. PDP wants Labour Party to join them to take over leadership of the House. APC wants Labour Party to join them to take over leadership of the House. And of course, the way they are approaching Labour Party, that's the way they should be approaching SDP and NNPP. So you see that the House, nobody will say he owns the National Assembly now as it stands today, especially in that House of Representatives. So definitely, House of Representatives is a place where lobby, you do political lobbying. But over the years, they do those lobby at the detriment of the people. They don't consider the constituents when they, share and, join hands, when they share rub their palms and all those things. But now, the implication of Labour Party coming on board is that before you rub hand, you must ask the constituents, what do they want? And if the constituents don't want anything, Labour Party will walk away from whatever decision they want to make in that House. I can assure you this. Any policy that is not people-oriented, that is not meant to touch the life of Nigerians, Labour Party will not be party to it, despite the level of lobbying, the level of participatory legislation that we are going to be enjoying with the 10th Assembly. Labour Party will not be party to any bill, motion that is not in line with social democracy. I can assure you that.
All right, I think that's fair enough to hear. Let's talk about the future of the party. Now, we've been seeing jokes and comments here about people are saying, why didn't I buy a Labour Party form? You know, there's this impression that, like you said, most of the Labour Party candidates did not spend close to what the others had to spend due to more, some level of organic nature to it. So they're saying, you know, I'm not going to miss this opportunity again. So I think that you can be assured that definitely your numbers are going to grow and people are going to come in. So what is it going to be like going forward? I saw someone the other day saying that Labour Party needs to adopt fully direct primaries so that whoever emerges, they will not have, you know, prior to Peter Obi emerging, there were issues of delegates collecting dollars here and there. So it seems as though someone, take for instance, you put yourself in the mind of someone who has money to spare and is looking, I want to, you know, get into power, I have money, Labour Party is fresh, they are young, you know, it should be easy for me to walk in there, you know, share some money and I'm there. So the point I'm trying to make is now that it's to an extent proven that the Labour Party can win elections, you're going to be getting more attention. What is the plan to, will I say, protect the space so that at the end of the day, we just don't end up replicating, like your principal calls it, structures of criminality within the Labour Party, which is still a fresh place where some experienced hands feel that they can come in and make changes.
Oh, well, thank you so much. You know, you're right, my good brother. A lot of people are already coming into the party. You know, the governorship election that's about to happen in Imo, in Kogi, in Bayelsa, and we're already receiving high level of patronage. In Imo, we already have 13 individuals wanting to be the governor of Imo State. And there's only one person that must be the governorship candidate, you know. So the party is already exposed, and a lot of people are coming in. But I want you to understand, like some of us that have been in the party, it's not just yesterday that we joined the party. I've been in the party since 2016, and I've seen a lot of things around the party, even when I ran an election in 2019 in the same Labour Party. You know, one thing I know about Labour Party is that some of us in Labour Party, you can't say there are people you can match down. They are moderate people, professionals that have done well for themselves in their little corner, you know, but they have this interest in leadership development, and you see them come to that space, Labour Party, to build a political career. And those are the kind of people we have. Like the national chairman, you see how lanky he is. He's not somebody you can push aside in terms of Nigerian politics. When you get close and know how far he has gone politically, you will realize that he's not somebody you can just push aside. He's very experienced, the national chairman. The same thing with the national secretary of the party. These are people that have developed themselves, been in government, and they are where they are today, you know. And so those people coming now cannot change the philosophy of the party, because when you have a document already in place, if you come and you are trying to change it, the system will work against you automatically. For example, PO is totally in the picture of what Labour Party manifesto looks like. And that was why PO was so comfortable. There were a lot of political parties that approached PO. He had a lot of options, including SDP and ADP and all what have you, including ABGA. A lot of them are there. But being a man that looks into the future, he saw that this is the only political party that is nationalistic in nature, that has a manifesto, that represents human being. Others has all manner of inanimate objects, you know. And that is why you hear stories like monkey went to a farm and carried money, because inanimate objects, they do all manner of inanimate things, I know. But when a human being, you are a political party is a human being you are seeing in the picture. In governance, you expect the face of a human being, also in governance. Some of these things has some, you know, I'm a Christian, and there are some divine arrangement that some of these things that you don't know, whatever that happens physically has some spiritual implications. When you see a political party that have a human face, you will see a government that will have a human face. You will see a government that will know that there is queue, filling station, that people are queuing. You see a government that know that will realize that, oh, people are hungry, people are not employed. Sometimes they will ask our president question about killings in the north and in the southeast. He say, I don't know. I didn't know. you see, because the logo of the party has a lot to do with individuals that party is producing. Yes. So going forward, the Labour Party will be consolidating on this victory to develop the leaders. You understand? The leaders of the party will also undergo some level of training and improvement on the skills, leadership, party administration, and political party administration and management skills. You know, we have to open ourselves up to the space now. We can no longer hide in our secret cupboards. Now we are already on public domain. Within the time Peter Obi entered the party till now, I know my popularity have escalated. I got calls from all across the world. I mean, it has exposed me. I have to even work on myself, you know, on the way I appear, my outlook, my responses to people when they ask me questions, and where I go. I don't go to places I normally go anyhow now, because I know that people have beamed their satellite on me. So the party leaders will have to accept the challenge and believe that this party is no longer a small party, it's now a national party that Nigerians are looking up to. And by virtue of what we are going to be doing on the floor of the House, Nigerians will have no choice than to believe in us the more.
Right. I want to make a statement. I hope it's not offensive, but there is a saying that says, don't boast or brag about your virtues until you have the money or the funds, or no, until you have the money to fund your temptations. Now, in the past, Dele Momodu, who is in the PDP now, who was in the Labour Party, said that one of the issues that Peter Obi was going to face is that when Peter Obi comes, he will have to fund the party, which he did. And he said that after he spent some millions, he started to feel it and he had to, you know, step aside. But that being said, we know that the goodwill we are speaking about actually came into the party. Whether Peter Obi funded the party or not, we also know that a lot of Nigerians were also funding. They were also putting their money where their hearts were. So that being said, and taking into account that there have been some level of scandals with some persons associated with the Labour Party. You are the acting youth leader. There was a youth leader who had issues of forgery and thereabouts, some issues within the party. We have another major face of the party, someone who is believed or who is said to have been the one that encouraged Peter Obi to come to Labour Party. I'm talking about, the name slips my mind now, Mr. Doyin Okukbe. He has had issues of corruption, you know, close to him, or money laundering, pardon me. You know, and then even the national chairman has had allegations, although unproven. So the point I'm trying to make is, how are you going, you know, to face this issue where the things that would normally not tempt you are now available? You know, you have elected officials. Definitely, I don't know how the funding goes about in Labour Party, but definitely there should be some level of support those people will be bringing. So, like you said, you have to adapt to some things. How are you adapting to the fact that there is a real temptation now that, you know, where the parties you complain about, what they've done badly, you now have the opportunity to also do things badly. How are you going to fight those temptations?
Thank you so much, my brother. I think what we need in Nigeria is a total attitudinal reconstruction. You know, people's attitude towards things have to change. If you are a greedy man, wherever you are, you will remain a greedy person. Even when you are in a place where there is nothing, you still be greedy with that nothing there. That's the truth. Peter Obi was governor when many people were also governor. But all the people that became governor when he was governor, how many of them will you say today that the searchlight of EFCC and anti-graft agencies have not revealed one or two illicit things? But till today, nobody have called out Peter Obi for any reason. So overcoming temptation actually is, people default, people do all manner of illicit things because the institutions in Nigeria are not working. The institutions are not functional. If we have a functional institution, sir, where you finish serving your nation and you are paid your pension and gratuity appropriately and accordingly, where you finish from the university, you get a meaningful employment, where you have a skill, you have a funding or support from government to improve on that skill, where you are a small business owner, you have a level playing ground to compete with your international counterpart. If we have all these things, there won't be any issue of greed, of people being tempted. What is the temptation? The temptation is that people will still come and buy a nomination. People will still come and do one or two things. And let me tell you, most of the things that haunt people today is not their current life, it's their previous lifestyle. So when you mention Doyin, in that case, I feel he was even haunted because there are a couple of other people that even did more damaging thing in that process that they used to in that day, that are walking the street. Nothing has been done to them. But because they saw that Doyin have identified with a force that is taking back Nigeria. So at a point, they were looking for all of us one by one. Yes, they were beaming satellite on all the individuals, party leaders, including the national chairman. When they beamed it on the national chairman, they saw it was an allegation. They didn't see anything. You saw it. Nigeria, if you have a tangible evidence, Nigerians don't give up. They must reveal your true identity. All this while that I've been acting, if people have anything that I've done in the past against me, it will have come to the public domain. But I tell people, go and Google my name, check my track record, go to ABU and ask questions about me, go to my village where I came from, ask questions even about the track record of my family lineage. So somebody like me, I've enjoyed some good things of life. Not that I've enjoyed the whole world, but I've enjoyed good things. So what will not make me to now stop saying the truth when I come around place where I need to say the truth? So the issue is not about the Labour Party. The issue is about Nigeria. It's about the citizens. Is it not a citizen that will come to a banking hall and he will see that there is a queue? He wants to influence the banking staff to attend to him or her before attending to all these people that have been there for long. It's an attitudinal issue. It's an attitudinal issue that somebody will see exit and see entry, and he will forget about entry and go, he wants to enter from the exit. Is it not an attitudinal issue that people will see traffic light, the three lights, one is green, one is amber, one is yellow, and one is red, and somebody with right senses, if it is not an attitudinal issue, will somebody with right senses see this and he still move when he's showing red, even after all the elementary lessons that we received about the traffic light? It's an attitudinal issue. So it's not about the party. It's not about and when the money mongers come, they will come eventually. Dele that ran away is he couldn't have run away because change is not cheap. It's very, very expensive. And if you truly believe in changing the system, sincerely you will spend not only money, you spend your time, you spend the energy, because Rome, was it built in a day? No. This building that you are is a very massive building, and I admire it. Very heavy. Somebody was even telling me that a bomb cannot bring this place down, because you see that it's a gigantic building, and the structure, the foundation is heavy. The foundation of this building where you are can build some 3-bedroom duplex. Only the foundation of where we are now. So when the foundation is faulty, and that is what Labour Party is coming to rebuild, that is what PO movement is preaching about, and that was why PO cried for the first time in his life and said, no, we won this election and we must reclaim it, because he believed that dismantling the structures of this criminality will not be easy. At some point in PDP, remember there was a time that some issue happened. Some people started returning money that we had paid to them. So things like that will change the narratives in Nigeria. When people are now afraid to collect money, people are, because, okay, now, since this money policy came, the news of kidnap reduced. Because you know that if you kidnap anybody, it's only through account number that they will transfer money to you, because there is no much cash in circulation. So you see, some of this issue is not a party issue, it's an institutional issue, it's a foundational issue which gradually, with right leadership in place, will sort them out.
All right, that's fair enough. Now, like I said, let's move to specifics. I think one of the, will I say, the major states in contention here is Lagos State. Labour Party pulled an upset. They defeated the APC candidates in his own states, in Lagos State, which is seen to be a cosmopolitan state, so on and so forth. Now, there's been a lot of ruckus concerning that state during the period or the end of the elections to this window before the governorship elections. We've heard all sort of things. We've seen some sort of tribal war has begun, where people say the Labour Party candidate, Badeboro's rival, is an Igbo man, and that his name is Chinedu, so he cannot be governor in Lagos State. Some have said he has no experience, others say so many things. And there is also a campaign ongoing now which says Lagos cannot be ruled by Anambra. Now that, I wouldn't say that's particularly tribalistic, but it's referencing the fact that Peter Obi, who is from Anambra, is playing some sort of, well, I say, leadership role in the Labour Party. And if the Labour Party wins Lagos State, automatically he starts to govern over the affairs by proxy. This has happened before. We saw in Edo State, they said Edo no be Lagos, while trying to remove the influence of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that you cannot be in Lagos and win Edo State. And all these things. It seems that Lagos is one of the most contested states. So what do you make of all of this, and do you think your candidate can somehow scale through, especially because in these last days we've seen ramping up of campaigning by your opposition. We've seen the governor making numerous appearances across television, going to see people. The other day he was having ice cream in the mall, you know. So he's doing a lot to really show people that he has worked enough to deserve a second term. Likewise, the State House of Assembly. So what really is happening in Lagos, and what do you see coming out of this?
My brother, you saw him in the mall. Even if he becomes a governor, GRV that I know will still be in the mall.
No, I was talking about Governor Sanwo-Olu.
Okay, Sanwo-Olu.
Yeah,
but after the election, you won't see Sanwo-Olu. Where has he been all these years? You know, he didn't come around in the mall all these years. You know, rather you see them with 50 DSS and Mopol. You know, guarding them from the same people that voted them, and it's quite unfortunate. But let me tell you something about Lagos. Lagos is one of the states in Nigeria. We have a country called Nigeria, and Lagos is one of those states. And if you can remember, Lagos was at a point a capital of Nigeria.
Yes.
And Lagos till today plays a major economic role in Nigeria because of the ports and the numerous investment, you know, and embassies and a lot of institutions that have their headquarters in Lagos. And Lagos, like you said, is a cosmopolitan state, and you cannot compare it to every other state. In Lagos, you have people from the north. In Lagos, you have people from the south. In Lagos, you have people from the southeast, south-south, north-central, northeast, and northwest. That is in Lagos. And anybody, according to Nigerian constitution, if you are a Nigerian, you are a Nigerian. And the same constitution says that if you have stayed over a certain number of years in a particular area, you are entitled to the benefits accruable to indigenous people of that area. If you have spent certain number of years in a particular place, you are automatic indigenous of that place, because over that years you've spent, you must have contributed in the economy of that place. I'm not saying that Badebo is an Igbo man. He's not an Igbo man. He's from Lagos. He's a Lagosian. Yes, he wasn't having a choice to decide who his mom or his dad will be. So the dad, a Yoruba man, one of the good families in Yoruba land in Lagos, met a beautiful young lady then from the southeast, and they got married. And Badebo is a product of that good marriage and sweet marriage. And you cannot use it to, you can't use it as a scandal on a young man who have never had a choice or who becomes his parents. But in Nigeria, we are patrilineal. You know, that patrilineal system in Nigeria makes that if your father is from Lagos, that means you are from Lagos. If your father is from Kaduna, you are a Kaduna indigene. And this indigenship thing have really messed Nigeria up. And I think it's part of the areas that we have to also look into, because you can't be here, my brother, contributing in FCT, you work in FCT, you pay taxes and rent in FCT, you do all manner of things in FCT, but in political decisions, they will push you away. It's unacceptable. We can't continue that way. We have to change some of those policies and those rules and those laws. If I live here for over 20 years, I am a citizen of this place. I give birth to my children here. They are going to school here. Everything they do it here. Buy car, I build house here. I have properties here. I am an indigene of that place. Nobody should say that he owns Lagos. Lagos is owned by Lagosians. Who are Lagosians? People that have lived in Lagos for over years, including the indigenous people of Lagos. Yes, there are people that were born and brought up in Lagos. There are people in Lagos. I met some people in Lagos when I was in Lagos, and they told me they've never visited Kwara. They are from Kwara, or not that they are from Anambra this time around. They are from Kwara, but they have never visited Kwara. I met someone from Akure. In fact, we flew together from Lagos to Akure. She said that that was her first time going to Akure. But she's from Akure. That all her life is Lagos. She did university abroad. She comes into Nigeria, is Lagos. She traveled abroad, comes into... That was the first time I flew with the person. Not that somebody told me. She told me that was her first time of visiting Akure. What do you make of those people? Is it because they were able to trace Badebo, mother, coming from the southeast? You know, the level of ethnic bias that we have in this country is irritating, honestly. It's very much irritating. In some certain things, we share love. But when it comes to some certain things, people push away themselves from themselves. And it's unacceptable. Badebo will win the election, and I can show you this. If Lagosians vote for the rightful candidates, you know, and their result will count, not just like what happened last time. If the result of Lagosians will count, I can assure you Badebo will be declared the winner of governorship election in Lagos State. He has already changed the narrative. For him to push to this point that brought a sitting governor out, coming out visiting people that he has never visited over the past 4 years, coming out going to the mall to lick ice cream with children, coming out to do street work, coming out to interact with people, that means Badebo is the hero already. Even before his declaration, he has become a hero because he's the highest threat in that Lagos State election.
What about PDP?
PDP is not a threat to Labour Party in Lagos State. It's never a threat because PDP were there. How many votes did they get in presidential election? They brought down our votes. Even when they rigged us in Lagos, we still won massively. We still won despite the massive rigging. And let me tell you, many places didn't vote. In Ajaleki, many polling units that were having 2,000, 1,500, 800 polling voters, they denied them the opportunity to vote. You are a media person, sample opinion from people in Lagos. You see that many areas, they didn't cast their vote. And this happened across the country. So if you allow the people in Lagos to vote, if you don't want them to stay, why did you sell your land to them in the first place? Why did they have to build lands there, build houses there? Why did they have to be in that place and they are contributing to the economy of Lagos? And when you talk about contributing to the development of Lagos, it has to be a holistic thing as well. It's not for one person. You can't say that. See, let me tell you, sometimes when you vote people that are your brothers, that I know that someone like you, I'm looking, as I'm seeing you, you are looking like Sharon of channels. You know, if your brother is in a place and you didn't benefit, and your friend goes to that position and you benefit, you know it's possible. So you can't say Badebo because it's a crossbreed, mother is Igbo and that is not a Yoruba man. He's a Yoruba man. I saw a former governor, a dramatic governor, saying that Badebo does not speak Yoruba. What is our official language in Nigeria? What is our official language? Is it not English? And you saw somebody that can communicate. Look, they have reduced politics to nothing in Nigeria. That is Governor Fayose on a national TV saying that how can Lagos have a governor that can't speak Yoruba? I mean, why do we study English in Nigeria? Let's stop studying English so that we know that anybody that cannot speak Yoruba, anybody that cannot speak Igbo, anybody that cannot speak Hausa does not have a place in Nigeria. Then people like us that cannot speak indigenous language, we can now leave the country for them and go where we can speak English. You get it? So it's unfortunate that we have taken politics to become a child's play, that a former governor, that instead of him to go and mentor young people, he's coming out to now introduce ethnic division by saying he openly campaigned against the young man. Instead of him to encourage, he was not 40 when he ran for governor. How old was he? And for him to see a 40-year-old young boy running for governor, he should applaud him. Badebo should be encouraged. Because we had a president in this country at the age of 29, while all of them don't want people at 40 to become governor, to become House of Assembly members, to become House of Rep members. That time has come and gone. It's no longer acceptable. The youth must take their rightful position in this country. It may not be immediate, but we have started it and we are not going back.
All right then. Now, like I said, we're still looking at some states. That's for Lagos, which is going to be keenly contested. A lot of people are expecting a lot of ruckus there in terms of closeness of votes. So I'm still moving on. Let's talk about Ogun State, if I'm not mistaken. But there's, I think in the news it was said that the Labour Party structure there had collapsed for the governor, and I think at the end of the day, the national chairman had to basically, will I say, expel or end the Ogun State chapter. What's really the issue there? We know that the former National Publicity Secretary was from there, and there were some issues going on there. What's the issue there?
Well, my brother, you know, 2023 have provided Nigerians with an opportunity to change the narratives in politics. Yeah. And like I told them recently, I said, we have to stop political marketing. It can no longer happen. We must groom people to have what we call political ideology. If you are in Labour Party, you must believe in Labour Party ideology, not to strategically position yourself for marketing. You know, every 4 years you see it happen. People that didn't even buy the governorship form, somebody that didn't is not fully nominated, he didn't fulfill all the obligations of becoming a governorship candidate, because Labour Party is a party, family party. We look at people's pockets. When you don't have money, we can also give you tickets to go and run. And those are the kind of people that will still go and use that mandate to negotiate. Those are the kind of people that will still go and use that mandate to trade for their selfish and personal interests. Yes, the people who did you see in that, where they did the press conference with the Ogun State governor, you know, who was there? The former acting publicity secretary of the party. He's a former acting, but as far as I know, he was not even elected the publicity secretary. I know how he came on board, and the same person that was supposed to build a career for the party is now towing that path. It's unfortunate. He's my friend, but I was surprised. Despite all we shared together, and he did what he did, and he was laid aside, you know, and he now continued. You know, this part of the world, we are doing some funny things. You are in this organization today, Kaftan TV, and tomorrow Kaftan TV say, my brother, stay aside. You now go to Asokoro and open a small shop and call it Kaftan TV. Who are you deceiving? You are deceiving yourself. You are not deceiving anybody. what you need to do, if you have learned anything from Kaftan TV, or if you have truly added value to Kaftan TV, you call your own non-so TV, and then pursue Kaftan TV and overtake them. That is what you need to do. So if you feel Labour Party have laid you aside, you stay aside. Open your own political party. Call it structure support political party. Now your political party is structure support every 4 years. You come and push your structure to a leading political party. You call it and overtake all the other political parties. Not to come and hide under the same umbrella that have asked you to stay aside to perpetuate evil. And those are the attitude in Nigerian politics that I said we need total attitudinal reconstruction. People have to accept stop when they were asked to stop. People have to accept no when people tell them no. People have to accept yes when people tell them yes. People must know their boundary, you know. So as far as I'm concerned, our party structure in Ogun is not supporting that man, that governorship, that their governor. We are not supporting him, Abiodun or whatever they call him. We are, if Labour Party is on ballot paper on that Saturday, people will vote for Labour Party. And by the virtue of him having said that he's no longer running that election, INEC have taken note, you people in the media have taken note, he cannot be sworn in. So when Labour Party wins, we will now get our, even if it means we know what we'll do from the party internal structure to give the people of Ogun State their governor. If eventually people are determined and they voted Labour Party and they declare Labour Party winner, we will remove the guy and push the next person in line to be governor. Because anybody that started a fight and do not get to the end of that fight is not a champion. He can't even be a champion. That person is not a warrior because he stopped on the roadside. You know. So those of them that are doing political trading and marketing are the chaffs, are the Judas Iscariot that we are winning out of the Labour Party to make the party stronger. So our party never moved our structure to anybody. The party is intact under the leadership of Barrister Julius Abure and as the national chairman and Farouk Omar as the national secretary. The party is united. Yes, as a family, we may have some challenges. You know, we are not immune to challenges. Agreement and disagreement happens to everybody. Even in this your office, sometimes you have arguments with your colleagues. But your ability to now come together and still focus your mind on the goal of this organization, Kaftan TV, is what makes you succeed in whatever you do. So I don't want to talk much about them or people you say did this, acting this, or former this, former that. What I know is that a soldier of the party, once an instruction is given to you, you have to take that instruction. An instruction was given to me to come and act for the office of the national leader. And to the best of my knowledge, I've been acting well, and I've been doing it to the best of my knowledge.
All right, so that's very fair. Now, just to start rounding up now, there's an issue, you know, we know that a bulk of, if not a majority of your, what I call it structure or your followership is a lot of young people. Now, online, we see that young people they're discussing and they're saying, even though they want support for the Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Obi, they also do not want to sacrifice any other thing in terms of competence and so on. So you see some young person saying, yes, we'll vote Labour Party here, but in this place, we'll vote this other person because we want competence over anything. So the question now is, what is is that accepted, you know, or is it a Labour Party top to bottom approach? How is it really going?
My brother, thank you for this question. I think I addressed this in the same press conference you mentioned. And I told people that Labour Party is an institution. Obedient movement is not an institution. It's a movement. Labour Party is an institution. Support groups are not institutions. They are not recognized by INEC. What is recognized by INEC is Labour Party. And I don't blame anybody because most people join this movement because of course, the name is obedient. So many people join the movement because of Peter Obi. But you know, when you join a movement, that movement may end up in something else that you never can tell because we are not God. We don't see the future. For example, by now, most of us believe that Peter Obi would have been declared president of Nigeria And most people would have even gone their various ways. So many of them are not even partisan politicians. So many of them have not even practiced politics before. Some of these youths, you see. So, but then, after Peter Obi has been denied his mandate, what is the best thing to do? The best thing to do now is not even to talk about partisanship. The best thing is for you to protest and prove to Nigerians that Labour Party was the party we voted. How do you achieve that? Is it by going on the street, moving up and down, and shouting, carrying placard? No. In a civilized country, what people need to do is to vote massively. Come out massively. To shame this structure of criminality. To shame this structure of injustice. To put their lies back to them that we voted Labour Party. I'm not saying that we have the best in terms of governorship and the House of Assembly. I'm not saying that every candidate running on the Labour Party is the best candidate. But I'm saying that for the purpose of proving to Nigerians, proving to the international community that we won this election, let us vote the Labour Party. We are not voting for obedient movement. And some of them have their choices to make anyway. I'm not enforcing it to them. I'm only saying that this is the best opportunity for us to protest the injustice meted on Peter Obi. And that is why I say when you join a movement, it gets to a point where you don't drink tea. But because that movement is now bringing tea as the only alternative for breakfast, you don't drink tea, but you manage, because of hunger, you manage and drink tea. You know? So for the purpose of proving to Nigerians that Peter Obi won this election, let Nigerian youths, I repeat, let all the obedient youths, all the obedient movement disregard their personal interests and vote Labour Party on Saturday. If they do this massively, the whole world will know that truly that a strong movement is happening in Nigeria, and they will come to our rescue.
All right. Now, I'd like to know your plans for this election in terms of creating that, what would I call it, watchdog kind of situation where you can be able to be the backup to INEC, so to speak. We saw that what's been happening is obedience trying to, create, systems where they can get their own results and basically try to counter INEC and say this is not how it was. Now you are heading into the election. You have foreknowledge that some of these things have happened. Are there plans to perhaps ensure that your votes really count this time around? What should people who want to vote for Labour Party or electorate generally do this time around to have that extra step that, this time around, you're not going to get away with whatever it is I believe you got away with in the past?
Are there plans? Yes. What are the plans? I can't tell you here, because it's for our own consumption. And of course, most plans are not meant for public consumption. What is for public consumption is the action. That is what people will see. So do we have plans to monitor, follow up this process? Yes. But how do we go about it? I can't say it here. Secondly, if you look at the last election, Nigerian youths, whether officially or unofficially, took over the polling units. They counted by themselves, they recorded by themselves, and they posted by themselves. You see? So this election will still be the same. Nigerian youths will be at the polling unit. They will take pictures of those results. So if you alter it, it's at your detriment. So they will be there. They will see number of people that were accredited and people that voted. They will know areas where votes were not cast. And they will also flag it and push it to public space. This is a tech-driven nation now, and technology around the world is the end thing. You use technology to do virtually everything. People can be in the US watching me and you right now as we are talking. That's technology. So it doesn't matter how we are threatened. It doesn't matter how much they plan against us. We have our own plans, and Nigerian youths will make this process transparent. That was why they wanted to clamp down on social media. Yeah, there are some level of quick deposit of false news, fake news on social media. But then you can't use that to say that social media have not done well for people. Like example, immediately I stayed till 12 in my village. and the electoral materials have not arrived. I quickly did a video and posted. It trended across the world, and people were shouting. Before you know it, after 45 minutes, after 1 hour, 30 minutes, electoral materials arrived my place. As if they now called, I landed, they were even shouting my local government. In my local government headquarters, they were shouting, where are the people going to Ward B? Ward B? Where are the people going to Ward B? They were shouting it in local government because somebody have flagged that situation and it's already trending across the world, and they have to quickly adjust themselves. So we will be at watch, and we'll be beaming INEC to the world. We will beam INEC to the world, let them know. We'll keep beaming them to the world. Let them continue with their rascality, but we'll keep beaming them to the world.
All right, thank you so much, Prince Kennedy, for your thoughts and your actions. I do hope wish you the best of luck ahead.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you very much.
All right, that's all we'll take on the program for today. We've been having discussions on ahead of the governorship election and the Labour Party's response. Do join us every weekday, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. For the Polity, reaching you live from our Abuja studios. Have a nice day, and take a look at some of these updates while I leave you, and see you again tomorrow and across the weekdays. Bye for now. I'm Amadino Bewe.
Thank you.